Okay, we're going. Can we hear me in the back? Can we hear me in the front? Can we hear me on the side? Can we hear me on this side? Are you ready to have a party? Yes. All right. So what I'm going to be talking about today is we're going to be taking destiny and kind of taking it to the next level. Now, I know not everybody has a destiny. I get it. But I'm hoping that even if you don't have one, that we can talk about some fun projects that you can do and use with your embroidery and all kinds of different fun stuff. So, does that sound good? Yeah. Okay. Now Janice had some rules when she started this morning. I have some rules too. Let's just have a good time. And if you have a question, kind of do this. I got a vision issue, so let's just get that cleared up right away, okay? I got two eyes. One of them works. It's the right one. So if looking at this one bugs you, because this one's always looking for aliens, I'll be able to know when the invasion comes, so I will alert you, okay? So I was doing a seminar once. I just have to tell a quick story. I was doing a seminar, and I said, just call out if you have any questions. And the lady in the front did this, and I said, I'll be with you in just a second when I finish my point. She turned to her friend in the best stage whisper. She said, is she looking at me? Because I can't tell. Doesn't bother me. I was born this way, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so we're going to talk about doing some embroidery on the Destiny. The Destiny's kind of a unique machine, so I'm going to do some stuff on it that's just kind of average and ordinary Destiny stuff, because Destiny, what it has is it has a scanning frame where we can take an image and literally scan it in the machine and turn it into an embroidery. Ooh, ah, right? That's pretty cool. So we're going to definitely do that. It's bread and butter. It's been out for about a year, and if you just do that with it, it's kind of fun. But we can take some parts of this, and we can take it and do some extra fun stuff. Because let's talk about what Destiny does and what it doesn't do, okay? So I can take an image, and I can scan it and turn it into embroidery. Given, right? Now, does that mean I don't have to have software? No, my goodness, oh, sacrilege. Because what a software does is software does stuff that you're going to use a computer for to do a little bit more complicated stuff. Does that make sense? Right? I'm not disrespecting what the Destiny can do, but for example, am I going to create an embroidery of a realistic dog with hairs that are coming down and shading and all this kind of stuff and a velvet bow and a lap of, am I going to do all that kind of stuff on my Destiny? Probably not so much, because that involves a lot of different things in embroidery, the direction of multiple different things within the embroidery, the individual threads coming down that will create the hair. So there's some things I'm still going to want to do in software. Software has not yet been replaced. But what the Destiny is when it came out, Janice was right. My head was about to explode. Because what it can do and what it super excels at doing is the following. You get an idea, right? None of us get ideas in the room, do we? You know? You get an idea and you want a little something in embroidery. Do you necessarily want to go and turn on your computer and go down that rabbit hole and do all that kind of stuff? Or would it be fun just to be able to go to your machine and say, I got this idea, let's do it? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Okay, so I was looking around the store, and this is something to make this one point. These are these little lights. Have you ever seen these little lights? Right? So fun. What these little lights are is a little pack, and you can put them in your embroidery or whatever, and you have lights, right? Well, what they want, I've played with these before, is they want perfect little circles. Right? You want a perfect little circle to put the little light through, right? Now, there's some embroidery designs that are designed to be used with this. But what if you want to do a different one? What if you want to take any other embroidery design, you want to have sparkly warm tortillas? Just saying. Right? And so this design, if I wanted to put little circles all over here, do I want to go to my computer and turn on my software and figure out and put the little circles everywhere? Wouldn't it be fun if I could just draw a little circle on my machine and put it wherever I wanted to and have that ready for me to go? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Wouldn't it be kind of cool to just be able to draw a straight line in embroidery? I have thousands and thousands of embroidery designs. Not one of them is just a single straight line in embroidery. What if I want that? Well, now I can create that. So it's a magic fairy embroidery brush. That's what the Destiny is. Kind of cool, huh? Magic fairy embroidery brush. That's basically what she is. So let's scan something and create a design. I'm going to be working a little bit on the screen, and my roadie is going to be doing the best video he possibly can of the screen. So I apologize, we're going to get the machine a bit, but that's going to be the way it is. Now, if I embroidered out everything I designed, we wouldn't have time for everything. And I got a couple things I want to tell you all about. So we're going to firm and fully pack 90 minutes. You ready? Hold on, here we go. All right, so this is the scanning frame. I'm going to put it on the machine, and I have this letter D. See the letter D? Where do you think I got that from? No, I could have got it from a coloring book. Who has a computer? I do. Do you have like a word processing program? Did you know you can bring in fonts and print out a single letter that's pretty big? Wouldn't that be cool? Okay, so that's where that came from. Do I know that? Ask me what font this is. I have no stinking idea, but isn't it pretty? All right, so I put the scanning frame on the machine. I have these cool little refrigerator magnets to hold it down. I did put it in the middle of the scanning frame. That's not a super big deal, but what it means is, well, I'll show you in a minute. Okay, you ready? So I'm going to come up here. Can you see me? Are we good to go? I need a manicure. Just deal with it. I don't have one. Didn't have time. Okay, so we're going to create a line image, and I'm going to hit the word scan, and the machine's going to tell me all of the good stuff. The frame will move. Okay, I'm good with that. So what it does is it turns down the lights, and it does a pretty scan. Let me get out of the way. It's going to do, this is a pretty big frame. It's going to do 4 or 5 little passes. While it's doing it, it's kind of like watching paint dry. This actually will scan what's in the hoop as well. Who has an Elissimo? Right? So in an Elissimo, you can use the scanning feature to see what's in the frame. Okay? If I had my frame on here in this machine, I could also scan it and do everything Elissimo does as far as using that for placement in the frame. But in Destiny, what I could do is, say I had a fabric, I could scan the fabric and use that as a background image to even create some embroidery from that. So if there's a motif in the fabric, I could not only see it like I do in Elissimo, but I could scan it and create an embroidery design out of it. Pretty cool, huh? So, can you see this? Can you see the screen? Okay, so what this is I'm going to cull away what does not please me. The refrigerator magnets absolutely do not please me. By the way, you can digitize those. Ask me how I know. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to pull the little red square around what I want and what I don't want. This grayscale detection level, don't worry about that too much. But what that is, this literally took a scan, okay? And if I had artwork that wasn't as pretty as this one, I might be messing around with that just a little bit. We're not going to deal with that today. That would be more than a 90-minute seminar. There's my D. Isn't it pretty? Now, I can still go back and play with that. I can do all kinds of different things to rescan it, but it came out beautiful. So I'm going to say OK. Now, here in this screen, what I can do is I can resize it, I can move it, I can do all that kind of fun stuff. Remember when I said I kind of probably want it in the middle of my scanning frame? That's, you know what, that's kind of important to me sometimes. I don't necessarily want to be moving it around. I want to deal in the middle because I got a lot of room to spread out that way. Here I could move it if it did not please me where it was located. And I can change the size. So I'm good with whatever's there. I'm going to hit set, and now here we are. Did you see that the refrigerator magnets came back? Yeah. Well, they're not really there. What they are, well, they're not. They're there, but they're not there. The machine kept in the background image in case I want to use that to refer back to. I kind of don't want to, but I can if I want to. See this little down here? This will take and fade it away or make that image stronger. Okay, that's all that is there. Just your background image in case you need it. So I'm going to get rid of that. Do the grid lines bother you? Can you still see everything? Okay, cool. All right. So now I'm going to take this D and I'm going to make it into an embroidery, and I'm going to make it a satin stitch around the outside edge of it. So I'm going to come into preview. It's going to give me a warning. Danger, danger, Mrs. Robinson. The IQ Designer data will not be saved. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. That just means that this image is now going to be turned from artwork into embroidery. If you want to save the artwork, now's the time to do it. That's all that message means. I'm okay with not saving it. Here's my choices. I can do a zigzag. I can do all kinds of fun stuff. I'm okay with a satin stitch. There, embroidery. You want to see it again? That's pretty cool, huh? So what it basically will do is I could have filled that. I could have done lots of things, which we're going to do in the next few minutes. But that's how quick and fast and easy it is to go from artwork to stitchable embroidery. Pretty fast. Okay, and when I hit set, that sends that embroidery into sewing land. So now I'm in sewing land. Okay, I could have saved it, I could have done a lot of things with it, but now it's ready to sew and I have all my controls in my machine just to go out and sew it out. But I want to do something more with IQ Designer. It's the basic premise about how she works. Any questions, comments, or snide remarks?
Just a
yes, ma'am.
What if you accidentally had your paper turned?
Very good question. If I had accidentally had my paper turned, I would have a wonky D. Right? So now that I have done this D, and it's an embroidery, I have all the controls I still have with my embroidery machine. I can come in here and I can certainly rotate it and do an unwonky D or a more wonky D or change the size of it. I have all the controls I still have in my embroidery, whether in a Lissimo or any type of embroidery machine. I can still take that embroidery and do what the heck I want with it before I get around to sew. But if it's going to bug you, I would try to scan it straight. Because sometimes when you're trying to do that and everything's kind of goofy, we get a little goofy ourselves. So I like to make my scans as straight and as centered as possible. It's just how I roll. Make sense? Anything else? Let's move on. Okay, I'm going to come on back to IQ Designer. I'm not going to save my D. I'm going to redo the D because why? Because I can, and because I didn't save it, right? I could have saved that artwork, okay? So I did that. It's not my first rodeo. I wanted you guys to see that if you forget to save artwork, you got to rescan it on in. It's not the end of the world, but let's just scan that anyway. It doesn't take very long. Talk amongst yourselves. So once again, where did I get my D? Just the fonts in my computer. What else? Where else could you get artwork? Off the internet. Who has grandkids? I do. Do any of them do refrigerator art? I lovingly call it, right? If you're an artist yourself, oh my gosh, tons and tons of different places for artwork. You can even bring an image that's a JPEG in to the machine via I don't know what to call it. I always call it jump drive, but some people call it different things. But the little design. Jump drive, is that what y'all call it? Different thumb drive. Different regions, y'all have different names for stuff. I can't keep up. Okay, so there's my D again, right? So what do I got to do? Get rid of my refrigerator magnets. Okay. Set. Okay, so there's my D. So now, when you get your artwork and come in, you can certainly redraw your artwork. You can do all kinds of stuff to make it yours, but you can modify some artwork when it comes on into the machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my D in half. Okay? So I'm going to pick, now I got a vision issue, so I'm taking my glasses off. Hopefully I won't scare anybody in the front row. So I'm going to select right in the middle of my D, and I'm going to cut my D in half. So I have my little selection box. Do you see my little selection box right there? So I can select certainly the whole letter D. That might be hard to see. That line is a little, that little red line's a little light, but I'm going to select right in the middle. So I'm going to come right in the middle with my selection box, and I'm just going to go down the middle of my D. Can you guys see that I've selected the middle of my D, sort of, kind of, mostly? And I'm going to tell it, get rid of that. Oops, hold on. Brain cramp. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to turn that into, see the little scissors? I touched the eraser, I should have cut the scissors. What do you think the scissors do? Make it go away. Now that's gone, okay? Now I have two parts of my D. I'm going to select one part and move it up. So I'm going to go back to the selection box. I'm going to take a line around there, making sure I don't get the other parts. Did it. And now I'm going to take that and I'm going to move it on up. I'm going to just take my finger and move it up. Can you see the background image back there also? So let's get rid of that so that's not so where I want it to be. Now I've taken my D and I've cut it into two. Now I'd like to put a line in there between them, and I'm going to give you a visual what it's going to look like when it grows up. Here I come. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. There we go. Can you see that? Isn't that cool? Wouldn't that be a beautiful monogram? You know, with die-cute, with this, we can draw in there. So I could have actually did my autograph in the middle there if I wanted to as well, instead of using the built-in designs. So what am I missing? The lines, right? So we're going to slowly come back and we're going to draw a line. So I'm going to come up to my pencil. See my little pencil up here? Are we back? Okay. I'm going to draw a line. Now I want two matchy-matchy lines. So I'm just going to take my finger, and you can use a stylus too. It's all good. I'm just going to take my finger and I'm going to draw a line. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. That is a goofy line. So I'm going to do my undo, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select a perfectly straight line. You with me? Ah. Sometimes I do stuff that I just, just to show. So I'm going to draw a straight line. Look at that. See, I left my finger on and I can keep moving until I'm good to go. And there's my straight line. With me? Okay, now I want two matchy-matchy straight lines. Is it going to be easy to draw another straight line the exact same place and time and everything? Heck no. So let's just select it and we'll copy it. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to copy it. Now I got two lines. And I'm going to take one of them and just move it down here. You with me? Now I'm going to pick the other one. How do I do that? I just select it. And now I'm going to move it down below the D. Let's move it to the right a little bit, so that it looks like it's kind of supposed to. I like that grid for doing that. Cool, huh? Now, if I wasn't talking, how long would this take me? Probably a lot faster because I talk a little bit. Okay, so if I want to fill in the other parts of that D, I could fill them in with a fill stitch. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come down here. Remember, up here's where I did my line. Down here's where I'm going to fill that bad boy up with fill. I'm going to come here and I'm going to select what I want. I want to fill it up. What color should I use? Purple. That purple okay?
Oh, yes.
Cool. So I'm going to fill it with purple. That means I'm going to take this, take that little bucket right there, and I'm going to touch the middle of my D. Oh no! I filled the whole screen. What happened? I have a hole in here somewhere that let the paint run out. So I'm going to find where my hole is. So I'm going to bring it up. Check it out. What's there? There's a hole there. It's a tiny hole, but how much of a hole do you need in a bucket for everything to come out? Quite a bit, right? And so that's going to be my hole. I got to fill it up. Now, did you see me drawing the line with my little finger? That's pretty good. With a stylus, I'd be a little bit better. But I guarantee you, because I've tried it before, coming in and drawing a little line there with my finger, guess what? It ain't happening. I mean, I'm going to come out with words I probably shouldn't be saying, right? So let's not do that. Let's fill up that hole. One way I could do it is I could come in here and I could draw a teeny tiny line and move it in there, right? But I'm going to say, I'm just going to throw this out there. If I miss that line in my embroidery, I think my embroidery is going to still look okay. Do you agree with me? It's a little line. So I'm going to cover up my hole. So I'm going to do a little destiny trick here. I'm going to draw another little line, but I'm going to make it a no-sew line and cover up that hole. I'm going to come in here, and this time I'm going to pick a no-sew line. You with me? And so I'm going to draw a little line. I got my straight line there. I'm just going to draw a little line. It's a no-sew line. That's all it is. So I'm going to select that. You with me? And I'm just going to plug up my hole. It's not going to sew out. It's just going to... Talk amongst yourselves. Now see how hard it was to put my no-sew line there, right? What if it was a real line I was going to put in there? I don't have much time in my life, right? So let's move over and see if we have another hole on this other side. The little square up here. Let's move over, see if we have a hole here. Oh, we got a hole there. So let's just duplicate that. Whoops. Let's just draw another no-sew line. It doesn't want to do it. What do we do? Punt. Punt. You know, in football, we're going to punt. We're going to go into another one. So we're going to draw another little no-sew line. We're going to draw it right here. We're going to select that. We're just going to move it over the top to fill in that hole. You guys still with me? Okay? And now let's move the square over here. I have a feeling we have a couple more over there we're going to do. Now let's do it the smart way. You with me? Let's work hard. Let's work smarter and not harder. Let's draw our no-sew line. Let's select it. Let's duplicate it. And now I have two of them to move really quickly in there. You with me? Questions so far?
It doesn't even matter that it's straight, as long as it's connected.
It doesn't. It's a no-sew line, so it doesn't matter if it's straight or not.
As long as it's making connection.
It's just filling up that hole. Let's see if I did it. You ready? This could be really exciting, or I could be just really bombing right now. So let's fill that up and see if I covered that. Looky there, would you looky there?
Wouldn't that easier to just move the line down?
It would have been easier to move the line down, but would you have learned about the no-sew line to fill up the hole? Just saying. Where did I use this? I had a little cool little image of a kitten, right? And the kitten had a dark little line around it. It was really cute. But in the kitten's eyes, it was kind of a smallish embroidery. So in the edge of the kitten's eyes, there was no outline. And so I had to make the inside of the kitten's eyes one color than the other, but I couldn't have a line there because it would have been too intense for the embroidery. Are you with me? Right? So what I did is I drew a no-sew line around that little eye, and then it could be a different color than the other one. So no-sew lines are our friends, right? Okay, so cool. So now I can come on in here, I can fill in the other part. Hopefully I did that so I don't have to worry about it. Check it out. When you do it right, it's a little bit easier, okay? So now I can take this if I wanted to, and I could go through the same process that I did. But don't forget, what you can do is when you get your drawing in there, you can manipulate it, just like you can in software. So this is all artwork. I can just manipulate it till the cows come home. Sometimes, is it easier just to get the good drawing and scan that and not have to manipulate? Absolutely, I can do that as well. But just be aware that you can manipulate inside of the program. So on that little sample that I showed you before, it had Destiny in the middle. That's a built-in font in the machine. But I could also come in and I could also draw my name if I wanted to. I can come in and I can take this little pencil right here, and I could come in and I could write Cathy if I wanted to, and I could bring that and put it down in there, or whatever the heck that you wanted to do. We'll talk about drawing in a little bit. Okay? So remember, undo is also our friend. Okay, so we can edit artwork. We're going to cut the D in half. And then, so let's talk about, I'm coming over. There we go. Okay, this is another little free artwork I got online. It was for hand embroidery. So amusing. And so I scanned this on in, and I'm going to go do it for you guys. I'm going to scan it on in. But it's kind of a little bit more complicated, isn't it? Right? It does do it. Here's the embroidery. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. We'll show it on camera in a little bit. But there's something that happened with this one that I wanted to share with you guys. This is kind of a complicated little embroidery. Now, I'm going to put it in the middle of my scanning frame. Now, on the top of the scanning frame, probably where you can't see, are a black and a white rectangles. That's how the machine knows the value of what you're doing. In other words, you can't cover those up. Okay? So most of your things that you're going to scan should be on an 8.5, 11 piece of paper. If they're not, you could photocopy them, but sometimes you're going to get a little ring around it where that paper's floated up. And then you'll have to come in and erase those. Does that make sense? Okay? So let's come on back. We're not going to do our D. Are we okay with that? All right, cool. So let's go on back. Let's pull up IQ Designer. Now let's scan our little teacup short and stout, create a line image, scan it on up. Yep. So now what happened with me the first time when I got this, it was so cute. I scanned it in, and every Destiny is different. They all have their own little personalities. The first time I tried to digitize it, it gave me a message. Your design is too complicated. Really? Have you gotten that? So, if you've gotten that, I'm here to hopefully help. No, you don't have to go and get a different design after you try another remedy. What I did is I made it slightly bigger, and the machine was happy. So let's see if it does it. Now, if all goes as planned this morning, I'm going to do this, and it's going to go through slicker than slick, and I'm not going to get that message that I want to get this time in front of all of you. Okay, so what do I got to do? Get rid of the refrigerator magnets. Now, see this little guy down in the lower left-hand corner? I've tried. I can't get him done, so I'm going to have to erase him. No problem. I can manipulate my artwork. So, there we go. There he is. Okay, set. I got to get rid of this stuff over here, right? So I'm going to come with my eraser. It asks me what size. Okay, and I'm just going to erase everything that does not please me. Okay? Now, I'm going to take this through and I'm going to create a line work design, and hopefully it's going to tell me it's too complicated. I didn't save my data. What does that mean? If I want to save this artwork, I'm going to better do it now. I'm going to create a single line. And I'm not worried about any of this kind of stuff because it's going to be like a red work. You okay? Let's hope we get the message. Let's go. Doggone it, it worked. Don't you hate it when a machine works? Anyway, so if that had happened to you, if you got the too complicated message and you are a Destiny owner, what I did is I made it just slightly larger and it was happier, okay? I guess maybe the lines were maybe too close together. I don't know. Magic Fairies couldn't do it that time, so that's just something to think about.
When you said you made it larger, where did you make it larger?
I selected it and I went to the size button and I made it just a little bit larger that way. Does that make sense for everyone? Okay, now this is a red work and I'm going to come over here again. Now this red work was done, and I'm going to take this beautiful book out of the way. This red work was done on a tea towel. Now, if you're here this afternoon, I'm going to be talking about applique, and there's a... Oh, bless your heart. The stickers are here. The stickers are here. Okay, so I did this on a tea towel with no stabilizer, and I used something I'm going to be playing with this afternoon called Terrio Magic, right? It's really cool. You're going to want some. Okay, so I did this red work because I got this tea towel wet with that stuff, and it made it stiff, and I'll pass it around for you guys to look at, okay? But there's something I wanted to remind you on this. IQ Designer does a spectacular job creating embroideries. Is there still a place for software? Yes, because what it does is it created a path for the machine to stitch this out. Are you with me? Sometimes software will make a more elegant path. Does that make sense? Okay, so this little embroidery came out beautiful, but there's a few more trims on it that I would have liked. You have Elissimos and Destinies, a lot of you. You know what the thread trim is, right? When it finishes the section, it cuts it and goes on to the next. So I'm going to show you the back of my little tea towel, and don't be frightened. Hold on to your neighbor's hand if you get a little frightened, okay? So what happens is, yes, it did this, but I got a few more trims that I wanted, right? Not necessarily my tea towel of choice. So what I did, I was okay with it on the machine. What I did was, there's a lot of little places it's going to the next place. So what I did is I cut off the trims on my machine. Does that make sense? You can go into embroidery, and when you're fixing to do your embroidery, now it's going to want me to take this off. It's going to get real upset if I don't do that. When I go into embroidery, I can come down here, see this little button down here? In Elissimo, it'll be at a slightly different place, but trust me, you have one. And I can remove the color trim and the jump stitch trim. So it'll just go through without trimming. Okay? So that's just something to think about.
Does that mean you're going to have to...
That means I'm going to have to go old school. I'm going to have to go old school, and I'm going to have to get in there and trim away the jump stitches that do not please me. So, yes, ma'am.
But when it does that, you're going to leave it loose where your embroidery can come, what does it tie?
Well, no. Actually, IQ Designer is pretty amazing. It does the reinforcement for as if it would to trim, which is, I think it's pretty amazing. So it will do the reinforcement. It'll just go on to the next place. Make sense? Okay, cool. So, is that something cool to learn about? Okay, I'm going to pass this around, and I'm going to have you take a look at it. I also did this. This was a handwritten recipe for my dad, who passed away, but he was quite the cook, and I had a lot of his recipes in his hand. So I did a trial on a felt. Good thing that I did, because the back is... Keep making him earn his money today. The back is nasty. It's just really nasty. I didn't even clean it up. I wanted you guys to see it. Remember, there's two kinds of embroiderers. You know who they are? The embroiderers who test, and the embroiderers who wish they had tested. Just saying. And so I'm going to pass this around. How could I have gotten rid of all those trims? Well, and this especially, these little words are pretty dang close together. I wouldn't necessarily have had to clip all those little jump stitches. It'd have been okay, probably sortie mostla, right? So I'm going to pass it around just to give you an idea what that looks like. I'm going to have one on one side, one on the other side. Don't fight amongst yourselves. There you go. And we're going to switch halfway through. My two classroom monitors are doing an excellent job. Okay, all good with that? Makes sense? Okay, so we are going to cut off the cutter. Okay, let's go into drawing. Okay, we're going to go back to IQ Designer. Any questions, comments, or snide remarks? We're good. Okay. Now, you can draw in IQ Designer. Now, there's some tricks to doing that. A stylus is a great little tool. One comes with your machine. right? But I'm going to give you some tricks to doing some of the lines. So if I'm going to draw a line, I want to have it to be my straight line. Remember, you can have a straight line or you can have a line with angles. That's what this one is. Let me show you what this one does really quick. So if I'm here, I can do a line and do a line and do a line and do a line, and they're all going to be connected together. That might work for you, but I want to do just a straight line. So there's my straight line. Now, it's hard to kind of put it where you want it to be. The trick is that when you're down there, when your stylus or finger is in connection with the screen, the line is still fluid. When I come and draw a line and I come across, see how my finger has not come off. I can take that line and put it anywhere I want. Notice how when my finger's moving, it's kind of following, but it's kind of not catching up to it. Does that make sense? Right? So I can leave my finger on there, make it shorter or longer, as long as I'm still in contact with the screen. Until I knew that trick, I was very frustrated. So now when I let go, I have my line exactly where I want it to be. So keep in contact with the screen when you're drawing your line on there. Now, if I had taken this line, I could digitize a straight line. I think all embroiderers need a digitized straight line. Where do you think I could put a straight line at? Well, what if I've done a quilt block in the hoop and I want to put cross hatching in the back? Right? What if I have done a little project and I want to be putting in, a placement line? This is where the zipper goes in this little bag that I'm making. What if I want to do a little circle like I'm going to do for those little lights? So if I want to do a little circle for the little lights right here, what could I do? I could come in here and I could pick a circle. I could pick a circle. I could pick a circle, and I'm going to be okay, and there's my circle, and I can change the size of my circle and make it the exact size I need for my little lights. And I could have hundreds of them in the space that it takes me to take it and make it a different size. So you can do quick and easy on the fly embroideries, which is pretty cool. Okay, but one thing I also discovered was, okay, let's get rid of that. I can draw with a fill.
Sorry.
That's not for me. I'm sorry, he distracted me with a squirrel. Okay, so I can draw with a fill. So what does that mean? See, this little line up here is where I've been playing, but look at the little paintbrush down there. Can you see it? Right? Ooh. And so I had this cool fabric, and it had like these big swirly designs on there, and I kind of wanted to put, the embroidery design all over a t-shirt and have the skirt. Well, it's a design thing. So I just took, and I can draw with that paintbrush, I can draw a fill line. So I can just come in here and draw a line, and that, believe it or not, could be a really attractive embroidery design if that matched exactly what I was doing. What I did is I scanned my fabric and I brought it in here, and I didn't tell the machine to create it. I just used it as a background to go over the top to create that little design. So this line is not a satin stitch or a straight stitch or a triple stitch. It's kind of a fill. And I can come in there and do all kinds of crazy stuff to it. Make sense? Okay, now I can actually do some fun stuff with my eraser too. Let's bring this little guy in. Let's bring in my little circle. I can have a line around it, no line around it. I chose a line with nothing around it. So this is my sun. What if I want to bring some clouds in to the bottom of it? I could certainly come in, change the size of it, and draw some clouds in there. But if I created a cloud design over the top of this, would that be a little bit dense where the two are? Do you know what I'm saying? Right? So what I can do is I can bring my eraser and take off what does not please me. I can come in, I can chip away what doesn't work. There's my little cloud. Maybe I don't even have to do the other cloud little things. Maybe that'll be enough. Maybe that's the Grand Tetons beneath the sun. I don't know. Use your imagination. So you can come in and take away parts that do not please you. Question?
And when you sew that out,
it's gonna go the round circle, and then it's gonna go.
Let's make this into an embroidery, just for fun. No, I don't want to save it. I knew what you were going to ask before you asked it. So I'm going to turn this now into a fill. I have all kinds of really cool things to play with here. Just like a sophisticated software program. I can change the density of it. I can change the direction of it. Heck, I even have pull compensation and undersewing. Just like big fancy embroidery software programs. And now I'm just going to hit okie dokie, and boom, there's my embroidery. Cool, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make an applique. What do you say? Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to do applique this afternoon a little bit. This is a little teaser before that. I'm going to create an applique in IQ Designer. This afternoon I'm going to talk about the process to do a machine applique. But let's just review really fast for those of you who may not have played before. A machine applique has three parts. Three parts. The first one is an outline where that applique is going to be placed, correct? The second one is that same outline, but you've already slapped your fabric down on the first one, and now it's going to stitch it, and you're going to cut away the fabric that doesn't look like the applique that you want, correct? The final phase is what? We're going to come in with a blanket stitch or a satin stitch to cover that edge. Okay? So, now, I'm just going to bring in a basic shape. Let's just bring in our leaf here. That's cool. I'm going to turn this leaf into an applique. It's artwork. And so, I haven't been saving my artwork, but now I want to. Now, I'm going to do two different things to this artwork. I'm going to create an embroidery position in applique, and then I'm going to create that sexy little satin stitch that goes around it to stitch it down. Okay, so now, I'm not going to change it, but I am going to save my artwork into the machine so that when I do something to it, I can come back and do the exact same thing, have the exact same shape to do it again. So now I want this as embroidery placement and position. I just want a basic straight stitch. Okay, boom, there's my basic straight stitch. You with me? So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to shove it on to embroidery land. Set. Okay, now it's in embroidery land. Now let's come back to IQ Designer and make that sexy satin stitch. Oh no, my leaf is gone. Well, I have it here in the machine, so there's my leaf. Set. There's my leaf. Okay? Now we're going to make it into a satin stitch. So when I go into preview, I'm going to choose now that I want my satin stitch. Now, I've done appliques with 2 millimeters, and it's a little fine. I want it a little bit wider. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to choose a little bit wider. 3 millimeters is where I'm good at. I'm not going to change the size. If I did a trial and I didn't like the density, I could always change that as well. But now I'm going to change it into, boom, satin stitch. Where am I going to send this? Embroidery land. Oh, look, it put it right one on top of the other. It's a miracle. So, the one thing I don't have, though, is I don't have 2 of those straight stitches, right? So what I am going to do is I'm going to move this leaf off. Oh, my goodness, I didn't save my other guy. Oh. Now, when I saved it before, did I save it as an embroidery?
No.
I saved it as artwork. So has the world stopped turning because I forgot to save one thing in 2 ways? No. See? This is what I do for you guys. I show you guys how it's going to get screwed up, because sometimes when we go home, what happens? It gets screwed up. Just saying. So there's my little leaf again. I forgot to save it the last time in embroidery. So now let's just take that, shoot it through as a straight line. Okie dokie. Okay.
Make 2 lines there.
Make 2 of them, exactly. So what you can do is when you think it through, yeah, she knew, right? When you think it through now, I can make 2 of these. So I'm going to set it, I can actually go send it off into, I didn't save the satin stitch either. That was mine. That was mine. That was mine. I didn't intend to do that for you guys. So can you see the process though? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to duplicate it. Now I have two, put one right on the top of the other. I'm going to take this, come into move, put it exactly right on the top of the other one. And if I had saved my satin stitch, I'd be bringing that now and doing that same thing. Now I could do these in different colors, but I know basically what they're for and it's all good. Does that make sense to go through the process of applique? What applique needs is y'all need to think about saving and remembering. Now, if I bring all these three things together in the machine, then I can save it as one big giant applique to go through all that. Make sense? Okay. Did I get everybody all confused? How am I doing on time?
You have to change the color so it'll stop.
It's a single needle, so it'll stop in between. Unless I'd ask the machine, let's go into embroidery. If I'm in here and I ask the machine to go all one color, then it wouldn't stop. That's my button that says, don't worry about those color stops, just barrel on through. But it's a single needle, so it will stop in between all of those, which is kind of cool. All good? How much time do I have? No one answered me.
35 minutes.
Excellent. Whew. Let's breathe for just a second. Okay, so let's play stipple. Let's do some towel. Am I going too fast, too slow? We doing good? All right. So now let's talk towel embossing. Yay! Okay, so now this machine, while it creates a fill, it will also create a stipple. Do you all have embroidery software that will do that same thing, right? So I brought a little towel, and I have a weight problem in my luggage. With my luggage, I have a weight problem, and so, well, yeah, me a little bit too. But anyway, I didn't bring a super duper fluffy towel because it takes up too much room in my luggage. So this is a basic little tea towel, and it wasn't super fluffy for doing the embossing. So I'm going to come over here so y'all can see. Okay, so when I who's played with towel embossing? A few? Okay, so what you have to do when you're embossing a towel is you're knocking down the background fluffy stuff. All this fluffy stuff in the background needs to get knocked down and put away. And even if I hadn't put the embroidery in the middle there, I could have left it and it would show an initial because this would be fluffy and this would not be fluffy, right? We're getting rid of the fluffy. So what I did here is I came in with a we're going to do our D again because, you know, that's the letter I have. We're going to bring in our D and we're going to create a towel embossing around it using stipple. The stipple on the machine comes in various different sizes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple different stipples in different sizes, overlay them, and mash down the background of the towel. Does that make sense? Okay, so coming over here, we're going to do our D again. Why are we going to do our D again? Because I didn't save it. So this is my little mantra to you guys. If you want to use your artwork for multiple things, what do? You guys are very good. Whoops. Follow the instructions, Kathy. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my D, and it's a pretty big D, so I'm going to make my D a little bit smaller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a shape around it, and I'm really only going to use this D for its outline. I'm not going to stitch this outline out. I'm just going to use it to keep my stipple stitches in a certain place. Here is a little bag that I did. I'm going to come back. I'm sorry. Here's a little bag that I did. And I literally put the stippling in the background of it. When I did the embroidery, it just wanted a little something, something extra. So I scanned the embroidery in the hoop. and then I drew a line around the outside edge of it and told it that this part will be stipple and this part will not. Let's see how that works on my D. So here I am. Are we back? He's fast, isn't he? I'm so sorry to make him go back and forth. So I'm going to take away all the things that do not please me. I'm going to go OK. There it is. There it is. Now see how this D is a dark line, right? So the machine thinks it's going to be a dark sewn line. I'm going to come here and tell it, no, I really want it to be a no sew line. So I'm going to come in OK, and I'm going to literally touch the line and turn it no sew. You with me? Okay. Now I want to put a box around this, so I'm going to come and find a box. Here's a box. And I'm going to take this box and I'm going to make it bigger. It came in as a no-sew line because that's the last thing that I had played with. Make sense? Yeah. All right? Okay. So if it wasn't light gray, what would I have to do? Touch this and make it a no-sew line. So I'm going to create towel embossing. I'm going to tell the machine I want to fill these areas with a stipple. Now this makes a pretty small stipple, but, and this is kind of important to remember, a towel embossing is more than just a tiny stipple. Let me pass this around and you guys can kind of look and see. You get to go first. So now I'm going to create 2 different stipples. Now I need my artwork twice, maybe 3 times. What do I have to do? Oh my gosh, you guys are going to remember that. Okay, now there it is. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to fill it with a stipple. Let's do a red stipple. Boom. Cool, huh? Now, what I'm going to do is, actually, let's get even more clever with this. I'm going to save it with the stipple in it. So now I'm going to save it with the stipple in it. Now I'm going to pass this through twice. And both times I'm going to make the stipple slightly different. So I'm going to go to preview. There's my stipple spacing right down in here. I'm going to make it pretty itty bitty. Okay? And I'm going to say okay. Boom shakalaka boom. Stipple. Okay. Now, I want to fill in some of this other stuff here. I want a stipple on the top of the stipple. So I'm going to take this and I am going to set it. Okay. Now I'm in embroidery. What do I need to do? You guys are so good. Okay, now let's come back here. Let's come back to IQ Designer. Let's pull out that same thing. There's the smart one. Now, I'm going to run this through again, but what am I going to do this time? Well, this time, I'm going to do a slightly different size stipple. Ooh, I should have done it in a different color. So let's take it and let's just change that to a different color so y'all can see. Let's make it yellow this time. So now we're going to take it, we'll make it a yellow stipple. Okay? Nope, that doesn't look like a yellow stipple to me. You guys were so agreement. Yeah. No, not a yellow stipple. There's a yellow stipple, right? Now I'm going to run it through this time. It's going to come up in a different color so y'all can see it. Okay, so we changed it to a different size. You with me? Okay, so now when I say okay, what do I get? I still get a really sexy stipple, but now it's slightly different. So when I set that, okay, there it is in embroidery. Let's bring something, let's add something from memory. Let's add my little guy right here. Set it, put one on the topper. Can you kind of sort of see how I got yellow and red? See where the yellow is kind of where the red isn't?
Right.
And if I was to do these two, they're going to be one and then the other one, and I do it on the top of the towel, what am I going to get? Flat. Absolutely flat. So what I can do is I can create a super fast and easy towel embossing or anything like that, and it's just fun, fast, and easy.
So you run it through and embroider it twice to
get the...
Well, they're two different colors.
Right, right.
So actually what I do is when I go in embroidery, I don't really want to do two different colors. I just wanted to show you all two different colors. So what's the magic button I push? Let's go to embroidery. Let's go where we're supposed to go. Yeah. Oh, change to a different embroidery frame. Isn't that nice? She doesn't let me mess myself up. So now when I'm here, I'm telling it, just one color please, thank you very much. And so she's just going to do it. She's just going to do the whole, and then do it. Yes, ma'am.
Two things. First of all, what I think Janice has, there's a towel with Janice's name on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so you have to have the same color thread as the towel.
Right, yes,
The
yes.
second thing is, in the one that you're passing around, did you do the stippling after all the embroidery, the bee and the flowers and the leaves?
Yes, I did. Because I brought in that, I did that embroidery, and I said it needed a little something extra. So I scanned the bee that I had embroidered, and I put an oval or whatever I put around it, and I went around that bee with a gently drawn no-sew line. I did have to trace around that bee with a no-sew line. I did.
Also, that Janice towel's been around here for quite a while, before the Destiny. How, do you know how that goes?
That's where I was going. It's like she's a ringer, isn't it? My goodness. Now, so that's fast and easy. So who has software? I do, right? Now, you know, this machine has a great little software program built into it, but everything I'm doing here can certainly be done in software, right? So if you have software, isn't it pretty simple to bring in a loose fill? Yeah, if you have software, you probably know what I'm talking about. I know Brad's going to talk about Creator a little bit. It's a different software program a little bit later on. So maybe he's going to touch on that. Maybe he isn't. But it's pretty simple in software. Most software will create a stipple just like the Destiny does. So if you're not even comfortable with, oh my gosh, what's a loose fill? How do I do it? Well, the software, I don't know. What you can always do is have the machine create that stipple, and then take it and change it and move it just slightly so you're covering more of the background. You're covering the background, but you're not covering it with the fill. Makes sense? Right? Okay, cool. So was that kind of fun? Did we learn some stuff there?
Question,
Yes, ma'am.
since you did two stipples,
Yes.
will it stipple twice?
Well, yeah, it will.
I'll go do one design and then it will...
Correct. Correct. Now, and actually, thank you for asking that question. It reminded me of something else. These stipples are pretty little, but they don't have to be little. This bad boy does a stipple that's very large. Now, think about this. If you're doing this and you slightly change the size of that stipple, it's going to place it in different places. Think about your metallic threads and doing this. It doesn't even have to be on a towel. If you brought in 2 or 3 colors of metallic thread with stipples layered on the top of each other, it's really quite stunning. It's really quite pretty. Yes, ma'am.
Did you use any stabilizer under the bottom?
No, not on the towel. I did a topper, but I didn't do anything on the bottom.
You did do a topper when you did all that.
I did do, you don't have to. You don't really have to do a topper, but sometimes I'm a topper freak, so I did a little bit of a topper. I did a heat away, but you don't have to. You really don't have to. It does. On that little towel that's going around, there's no topper at all.
And nothing under the bottom either.
No, it didn't buckle on me or anything like that. So it was good.
Once you did all that stipple, it seemed like it was pretty stable. Where if you
Yeah.
put your border on top of that, you could,
Yeah, and you could, yes, absolutely. So don't cut out your letter. You could just create. You could create a medallion in your towel and then come in with embroidery.
yeah.
Never thought about that idea, but I'm going to steal it.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed sturdy enough.
Yeah,
you know, to where
absolutely.
You could still embroider in there without putting anything else in.
You nailed it. Now, I'm getting a little short on time. I want to show you one other thing with the Destiny that Alissimo can play in the sandbox, okay? Let's do Connect really, really fast. Hopefully, are we getting really close? Okay. There's one other thing I wanted to show you. It's an In the Hoop project, but we won't have time to do it here. But I'm playing this room all week. You with me? Are you guys playing this room all week too? So what I can do is on the Destiny out there, I can show you how with the built-in shapes. I did a really sexy pin cushion. just with the built-in shapes. Here it comes. So come and see me a little bit and we'll play with that, okay? Destiny players. It's a tease. I think in the industry that's called a tease. Okay, so let's talk about Connect. Oh my goodness. Now, Elissimo, beautiful machine, never came with Connect. It was always an option. It was always upgrade 3. Okay, so it came with that continuous embroidery hoop. Did some out here make the adoption of the continuous embroidery hoop with Connect? Okay. Destiny it comes with, but Elissimo owners can have this. It's pretty cool. Now, what is Connect? I'm going to try and find something little to embroider, and I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to come down here to my little, just my little decorative stitches. All right, so there's a decorative stitch, little decorative stitch set. Now, let me make that a tiny bit bigger, just a tiny bit. Okay, so that's a little guy. Now, what does Connect do and why is it a big deal? What Connect does is it takes any embroidery and it adds other embroideries to it, and it matches it perfectly. So if I want to do this decorative stitch from here to the door, there ain't no hoop big enough. It ain't no mountain high enough, ain't, you know, all that kind of song. It doesn't do any of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to have to re-hoop. So what Connect does is it takes the stickers. You Elissimo owners have these, right? You know all about these, right? So what I can do is I can connect one to the other, no matter whatever hoop I'm using, no matter what I'm doing, I can hook one up right after the other. Do you have a use for that? I think I do, right? So why I chose this is I have my little 8x8 hoop here. I have my 8x8 hoop. Certainly I can do multiples of this design in here, but I'm going to use it just to show you. Do we have any Unity owners in the crowd? No? No Unity owners? Nobody? Okay, bummer. I was going to tell you that you don't have to have hoop envy. You can have an 8x8 hoop for your Unity now. It's an upgrade. But, you know, no one, I'm just saying. Just forget about it. Just forget I even mentioned it. Okay, so let's do silly embroidery really fast, quick and easy. We're going to do this embroidery, and now we're going to tell it. See this little icon down here? The little film strip? When I get done, I'm going to hook something onto the end of this. You with me? Okay, so start. Now, I'm going to have my stickers. What's going to happen at the end is the machine is going to say, oh, you wanted to hook something up. Show me what you want to attach to this. So I'm going to go and select an embroidery design just like I would any other time, and it's going to ask me where I want to place it at. So, bling! The embroidery is finished. Is it okay to connect the next pattern? Absolutely. Do not remove the material from the frame. Press OK to select the next pattern. Let's pick another one of those little hoodoos up. Let's see. I don't even remember the one I chose. We're going to pick. Oh, there's the one, right? Okay. So I'm going to say set. Now, it's in the machine. That's the new pattern. That's not the old pattern. See the little icon down here? Check it out. This is where it gets sexy. Now, look here. It hooked it up for me. All right. What if I want it side by side? What if I want it here? What if I want it there? What if I want to scoot it away a little bit? I want it down here. I didn't change the size of it, did I? Right? So this is the original size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be okay with this because it's something small, fast, and easy I can do in 20 minutes. You with me? But do you get the concept? Is that wicked awesome or what? Okay, so now, how are we going to do this? We're going to be taking this material out of the hoop after we've done our homework, what we're supposed to do on the machine. So the machine needs to know, when I re-hoop it, where to find the previous pattern. So I'm going to say, okay. The carriage of the embroidery unit will move, and what she's going to do is she's going to bring up my manicure checker. Okay, I'm going to need two, count them, two placement stickers. And I'm going to approach the machine, and it says using two hands. It really means it. Do you know why you're supposed to use two hands?
To get it right.
Well, not only that, so that means you don't accidentally hit the start button, just saying. Ask me how I know.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, you enlarge the first one, and you're going to enlarge the second one? Or
No, I'm okay with it this way. I just wanted to show you that.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'm good. It's going to, no real embroideries are going to be harmed here today. So now I'm a little off. I don't know if it's going to be happy with it. Let's just see. Let's for grins and giggles. I was a little off. She's cool. She's good. Now, she moved over to the other side. What do you think she's going to do? Why are there two stickers and not just one? Well, it's orientation, isn't it? So I'm going to bring the other one in. Stick it down. Okay. Found it. Nailed it. Now I got two, see my stickers? Aren't they beautifully placed? Okay, so do not improve the embroidery positioning marks. Rehoop the material so the next pattern and the centers of the two embroidery marks are in the frame. You get it? All right, so I'm going to take it out. That's what it sort of looked like. Kind of sort of see it? Now, I'm just going to rehoop this goofy. Over here to the goofy rehooping station. Trust me, it's goofier than it was before. All right, rehooped. Rehooped goofy. Not beautifully rehooped, but you're just going to have to deal with it. I'm in a time crunch. Okay, so I got it in there goofy. Now, where would I have put these if I was to rescan? I mean, I'm moving on, right? These just need to be within the area of the hoop. You with me? So, just a point. If I'm connecting patterns together, can I fill the hoop with embroidery design?
No.
Imagine you're docking a cruise ship. Okay, and if this is an 8x8 hoop, and I had re-put these down up here, and it's finding those, could I put an 8x8 embroidery design? Do I have room for an 8x8? No. That's why big hoops are good for this. Okay, so I can't fill the hoop because it doesn't have a place to do what? Maneuver it like it needs to be. Okay, so you got to ratchet it back. You got to keep it real. You got to bring it back down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to tell it to scan. Now what she's going to do, she's going to find those. Finding, searching, searching. Got a way to go, search. Nailed it. There's one. Okay, the embroidery marks are recognized. Remove the marks. Just saying. Don't forget and leave the stickers there. Okay, there's my next design. Ready to go. I'm going to take off my little stickers because I don't like embroidery through the stickers. Ask me how I know that one too. And so now what do? I lower the boom, I press good as go. Gee, it's in the same hole. So this is a feature that's built into Destiny. Can Elissimo owners have it? Sure. It's an upgrade for Elissimo. It never was part of the machine, but it's totally available for that machine. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just curious. I mean, I used to have an Elegante, and now I have an Elissimo. But it seems to me that you could pick your pattern and then just tell it you want more and more and more.
Right. You can do that. That's still built in. Would you like to see that really quick?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the question is, what is the point of this if your machine already does the other?
Well, here's the thing.
Moving down?
Well, no, what happens is how it was before. You want me to talk about how it was before in the olden days?
I know how it was.
Okay, well, what happened was if I was to put one next to the other, in a machine pre-Elissimo. You with me? What I could do is I could pick my multiples. Let's see if I can pull it up on here. Let's bring in one of these little guys, and we'll go through that process. There's my little sticker, set. Now, when I come on in here, I have the little condominiums. Remember those little guys? These little, I call them the condominiums. It's the multiples, right? Now, this is how you did it before. You could do one right after the other, but then when you wanted to join those up, you could put little thread tags on either side, right? Boom, 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 boom. And then when you rehooped, what you did is you found the little mark, and then you found the other little mark. You with? I'm getting some deer in the headlights, right? And so what you had to do is you had to find the mark with your needle, which was easy on the first one, but on the second one, what had to happen? The design might have had to have been rotated by you to make sure that that fit in there together. So you either, when you moved down, you made double dog sure that you went up straight, and then you could find this mark and you could find this mark, or you could rotate it to do it. But if this was a half of a degree off, it ain't going to happen. So then you're rehooping and you're finding the marks again, and it was like a process. So what this does is no matter what your orientation is, it's one shot. You're in, you're good, you're whatever. It takes user error out of the equation, which is always a good thing in embroidery.
And everything else.
And everything else in life. So no, you can still do it that way. You can still do it that way, absolutely. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So, I'm getting dangerously close to the end of my time. I wanted to show you the little Merry Christmas up here and the skirt. And I can bring them back over here to you. It's all good. It's all good. So this little Merry Christmas, one little quick talk about it. This was done with Connect in Elissimo. This was done pre-Destiny, okay? So what I did is I brought in all the letters, and check it out. No hoop is that big. All my Christmases and all my Marys are bright. Aww. And so anyway, so there they are, right? Now, if you're going to do a big saying, one thing to keep in mind is, and you can do it with Destiny, but I'm not going to go down there for right now. See how some letters are down below the line, okay? To do this in Connect, what I did is these letters are from my software anyway. What I did is when I created my big old saying here, I put a box around each one. Because what Connect does is it connects them one right after the other. But I have the line here to deal with. So what I did is I put the box around the biggest one, and I put identical boxes here, so I didn't have to worry about that baseline. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, when I bring up Embroidery Works, I can actually take you through that really, really quickly. But it's because of you have to have a baseline with letters, then you might have to modify it just a little bit. Okay? And so there was something else I want to show you guys. Oh, I did it at the bottom of the skirt. So the bottom of the skirt is with my continuous hoop, and I just did a saying on the bottom of the skirt and went around the skirt and did one connection right after the other. So that kept everything on the straight and narrow. Make sense? Now you saw when I brought in the one design or the other that I could move it up and down, and I saw it before I stitched it. So in Destiny, you don't necessarily have to have that baseline in there. You can see what it looks like before you stitch it. Okay? Did I lose everybody halfway through? Doggone it, I was trying so hard. So I have these all up here. You can play with it. Now, after the break, we're going to be doing embroidery applique, and we're going to be cutting some out with a different machine that some of you may or not have seen. So eat well, get your nutrition up, because there might be a pop quiz on all this that you've just learned, right? Guys, I do pop quizzes every once in a while. Any comments? Yes?
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, we're free.